everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie and you're watching ChoKwonDeezMakes, a channel where I talk about my knitting, sewing, quilting, general making journey. It has been a while. I have been filming but not enjoying the content that I've been producing, so I figured why not step back into it with a classic knitting podcast and get things rolling again so that we can share together what's been going on. So today, like I said, it's going to be a classic knitting podcast. I don't have any sewing done yet, but I am planning on having kind of like a sewing crazy session coming up soon, just to work through some of my fabric stash and things like that. So maybe we can go through together in another time or in another video to figure out and plan what we're going to be making with all of my fabrics. Today I am wearing my olive sweater. This is supposed to be a turtleneck, but obviously I made it a crew neck. I need to look up the yarn, but it is the olive sweater by Pernell Larson. I didn't know how to do proper center decreases until I got halfway through the yoke, so tragically it looks like that up top, but it's fine. I'm not upset about it. The yarn is Miss Babs. Oh shoot, I don't even know. It's a DK weight. It's Miss Babs. I guess I didn't write down all of my notes about this, unfortunately, but I do have this in a podcast. I finished this in February, so I probably have it in an earlier podcast. We've covered what I'm wearing. Let's get into a finished object. My only finished object this time around is my Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Mae Designs. This is a two-stranded colorwork sweater that I started, it's bottom up. I started it over again in, let's see, April. I started this in April. I had not finished it until probably 2 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago actually, but I'm so excited to have it for this transition into fall. I know a lot of like colorwork beginners are afraid to do all over colorwork, but I really enjoyed this. This is a bottom up. I think that's the only thing that I did not enjoy about this pattern was the bottom up construction, but it still turned out well and it still fits well. So I'll show you the inside. I caught floats. I don't know if it's called laddering down, but I caught floats from the row before on the row that I was currently working on. So that is how I combated the longer floats. I did decreases every other row all the way up to the neckline, and I also did a row of short rows. As you can see, I did a single color row or a colorwork repeat, so like this repeat, one solid white square, one solid black square. I did that in short rows and I think it worked out well. It doesn't look too funky, maybe a little bit loose at the neckline there, but I haven't blocked this yet or washed it really, so that is something that I'm hoping kind of works itself out in the washing, blocking process. The yarn I used was Twister Solid by Hobby yarn. This is a cotton acrylic blend, 55% cotton, 45% acrylic, and I used just the solid black and a cream color. And the yarn is quite slippery. That's one thing that I will say, but I feel like it worked well In terms of cotton acrylic blend yarns, it wasn't taxing on my hands. Even if it was color work, it wasn't just difficult in general to work with. I do knit on metal needles, and so it was quite slippery, but that's the only thing really that I have in terms of complaints with the yarn. But the pattern was great, very simple, quite customizable, to be honest. And so I'm really excited to have this for the transitioning seasons here. And because it's a cotton acrylic, I know it's not going to be too warm, even though it's like a double layer fabric, because it is color work and there's floats. So I'm anticipating getting a lot of wear out of this sweater in the near future. That is my only finished object, and I have some progress. Actually, I have a lot of progress on all of my whips because it's been so long since I filmed. So let's get into some whips. The longest whip I've had on my needles has been on my needles since last winter. That is the Big Bow Bonnet by Park&knit. It is supposed to be a mohair bonnet that has a big bow, obviously. I had finished the bow section in terms of how I look like a little baby, how the pattern specifies or is written, but this is supposed to be a mohair pattern, and I am not using mohair, obviously. I am using a DK weight sock yarn from Georgia, oh no, Sweet Georgia. This is the Cash Luxe Fine in the colorway Peony. I have my skeins of yarn here. It's a beautiful pink, just like the project photos. I look kind of Amish right now, which is not a bad thing, but it's so cute. I'll show you the back. I really enjoyed the casting on method for the bonnet portion of this. Maybe I'll get closer. Bonnet portion of this project. It was very nice, very clean. I did have to try it a few times, but nothing that some practice doesn't help with. And then the other thing that I did differently was I did a knitted folded bind off instead of a sewn bind off, I think it was. But now that I have the cap bonnet part done, I am actually redoing the tie portion, because looking at this and like kind of game planning what was going to be going on, I decided to cast on again the tie, and it's like half the size of what it's supposed to be. And I know it's supposed to be the Big Bow Bonnet. I think this will still read a Big Bow Bonnet, but the tie I am deciding to redo in a smaller size. That way when it goes through here, this tunnel that is made for the cinching and the bowing, it doesn't get too, not messy, but like clunky around the face. So that is the progress. I think that's a great deal of progress on my Big Bow Bonnet by Park&knit. My second longest whip that I've had going on is my Augustine's No. 1 sweater by Anne-Sophie Velling. I'm going to put it on this hanger for you. I have one sleeve finished, and I have the other sleeve going now. I'm very, very excited. I have tried it on, and maybe I'll put some B-roll of me trying on this one and the Great Gingham Raglan just so you guys can see how it's fitting on me. This is looking very small, but it will stretch out, and I have tried it on, so it fits me well. Everything will kind of relax and be okay once blocking happens. Apologies for my squeaky stool. I have not made any modifications to this pattern. I'm knitting the size medium. The only thing that I've changed is the sleeve hem. I decided to do a folded and 3 needle bind off, I guess, sort of hem on this sleeve. I might put elastic through it, but the way that this sweater is finished on the sleeve, I think would get in the way of my everyday life, and I just don't want to fuss with it or ruin perfectly good yarn. So this is why I have opted for a folded hem. I think it looks fine enough with the I-cord hem down here. And one critique I have of this pattern is that you do short rows for the peplum skirt, so that the back is longer than the front, but you do the peplum short rows before you increase the number of stitches for the gathering effect. And that's not something that I really love the look of. Like you can tell here, it kind of looks a little bit messy. Granted, this is going to have a bow going through it. That's one other thing that I'm not super sure about, is whether I want to just get a brown ribbon and put it through the waistband, or if I want to actually do the I-cord, which, thinking about doing a I-cord that is like 60 inches long is not in my favorite things to do category. So that is how much progress I have on my Augustins #1. There's supposed to be some ruffles here. I'm gonna try it on and see if I want the ruffles. I do like the look of them, but since I don't have ruffles on the sleeve, I'm considering if it's worth adding that detail to the project. I have also not consumed a whole lot of yarn. I have 1 whole skein left and probably 1 1/4 skeins left, so I'm definitely gonna have leftovers. I'm not sure if maybe I read the yarn yardage improperly, or if I'm knitting this improperly. Either way, I have plenty of yarn left over, and I'm excited to have this done and keep on going with some of my Ravelry queue for fall time. I have 1 more finished object. This is my only sweater project. That was a hat, sweater, and now I have some socks that we'll talk about. My last work in progress is my nutmeg socks by Tanya Barley. This is my second of the set. I have finished the cuff, finished the leg. Let me see how many I have finished both sets of short rows on the heel. Last time we chatted, I said I have no idea what kind of heel I do, but I explained it to you all, and somebody actually graciously commented what technique it was, and I'll put it on the screen somewhere because I can't remember. It has to do with a tomato, but that's all I can remember in terms of name. But now I just have the foot and the toe of the sock left to do, which is super easy because the bottom half of the sock is just plain stockinette, and the top half is the only part that has the sort of faux cabling gathering motif. And I'm so excited to have these socks. I have been wearing my handmade socks more casually recently, and it's been really nice to have like a warm sock to wear in everyday life. And at one point I was thinking, oh, I'll just make all of my socks from now on, and that's not really going to happen, but I'm still going to enjoy my handmade socks no matter what. So those are all my works in progress. I have one, it's not an I have an acquisition, but I have a future plan that we'll talk about now. I was trying to avoid test knits this autumn season. I could not resist. I have signed up and been accepted to Sarah Handmade's test knit for her first pattern. It is a v-neck split hem raglan, and it is gorgeous. I originally signed up for the test knit because I thought my mom might want to wear it, and I do have yarn for her, which is part of the acquisition that I have. But I think the size that I signed up for the test knit is actually going to fit me more than my mom. So I'm gonna knit up the size that I signed up for, and then hopefully I will be able to knit my mom hers in a size down. That way she doesn't feel like she's swimming in a really oversized sweater. But the yarn that I'm planning on using is a yarn that I had in my stash. Actually, it's two separate yarns that I have in my stash. And I'm gonna hold them together because it is a stockinette kind of plain sweater. I don't feel like this is going to overshadow the details of the sweater, rather than if I was doing like a textured sweater or something like that. But these are the two yarns that I will be holding together. They are Hobby Lobby's hand-dyed skeins. They're 100% superwash merino. This one is called Sahara, and I forget what this one is called, but it's like a pink and green and multicolored rainbowy kind of yarn. I'm going to hold these together because I think they're going to kind of mellow each other out, or to me they're close enough that it's not really going to distract from the other, if that makes sense. I think they're going to complement each other. This one's going to mellow out this one's going to bring some life to this one, and so I think it's going to be a good mix. I have not started my swatch yet. I am quite a tight knitter, and there's been some conversations in the test knit Slack channel, and so I am going to be swatching that first. I'm tight knitter, so the pattern calls for either a DK weight or a fingering and a lace weight. I opted to hold two fingering weight yarns together, and I also have just a plain white mohair from Pearl Soho as well, that if I feel I need to add more bulk to the sweater or the swatch, this is what I will use. Yeah, I'm really super excited. I had a v-neck sweater at one point in my life that was split hem and things like that I really liked, but it got worn out a little bit too much by the time I became a knitter. I was like, you know what, I kind of need to replace this item in my wardrobe, and so I donated it to a friend or to a thrift store. I'm not really sure. Haven't started one since, but I think this is the perfect excuse to finally cast one on. I'm using this as motivation to finish my sleeve on the Augustine's number 1. I have more than 100 rows left on that thing, but I'm pretty confident if I just sit down and focus that I will be able to get it done. Maybe if I really want to, I can help myself out by getting a shorter circumference needle, but it's not really necessary, so I will just put my head down and focus. And that is my only plan for now. Yeah, I'll continue working on my whips, set up that gauge swatch, and get going from there. And I have a single acquisition, but it's a few different projects, so we'll talk about that now. Okay, so my single purchase is from Joann Fabrics. I actually work there now, and I get a discount, and there's all these doorbusters and things like that. So I reached out to my family members. I was like, what would you like for Christmas in terms of knitted or home sewn things? And my dad asked me for a vest. Now he sent me a fully separating zipper vest, and it was quite finance bro, but he is a finance bro. So I talked to him and my mother a little bit about what colors would be best. He thought he wanted a green, but my mom and I both decided that a blue would be nicer for him. And so he is lucky enough to get the Wool Ease by Lion Brand yarn. This is a acrylic wool blend, 80% acrylic, 20% wool. The colorway is denim, which is really nice, kind of like a casual muted navy color. And I have checked in with my dad. He can wear wool. My mother requested no wool, so did my grandmother, so totally fine in this department. I'll put up kind of a picture of what he sent me and what I'm thinking of doing. I'm not going to order a zipper just yet because this blue is really difficult to match with like commercial zippers, so I'm worried that I'm going to have to order one online and maybe order a few online if it comes down to it, to try and match this blue with a zipper. I think it's gorgeous. So that is the first yarn decision that I had made for a gift. The second one I made was for my mom. Like I said, I signed up for Sarah Handmade's test knit. It's the Mountain and Seas V-neck sweater or sweater. I had originally signed up so that I could knit my mom a sweater, but I signed up for a size too large, and so now she's going to have to wait until I'm done with my sweater to get hers. And the yarn she picked out is Lion Brand Heartland in the colorway King's Canyon. It's a gorgeous variegated or like two-tone green. It's very Christmassy green. More of a blue undertone, and I think this is going to be really gorgeous on my mom. She is low contrast. I believe she's either a summer or like winter. Either way, this green's going to look great on her. It was between this and my other yarn that I have, but I bought I think I bought 5 or 6 of these. I bought 3 of these, and I bought 1 of these. This is Lion Brand Heartland again in the colorway Kobuk Valley, not sure. It's a nice orchid purple. I got this to make my grandmother a pair of mittens. I think she may be getting colorwork mittens, but I'm not 100% sure. There's plenty of yarn here to do like mittens and also maybe a little ear warmer thing. But she also requested no wool, and I'm thinking that she thinks wool is still really scratchy, like when she was a child growing up and wearing wool and things like that. But for me, yes, wool can be scratchy, but there's obviously tons of super soft wool out there now. So I just listened and I got an acrylic, and that's okay because she can just throw them in the wash and it's gonna be no fuss. So these are all my gift knitting yarns. I'm very excited to be knitting for my family. And the last thing that I got is a little gift for myself. This is Patton's Croy sock in the colorway Midnight Orchid. It's a beautiful purple, pink, green, and cream striped yarn. I'm not sure if it's self-striping. I'll have to look it up. But this like colorway is just gorgeous. I think maybe Taylor Earl from Wool Needle Hands has used this yarn. I'm not 100% sure, but I've been eyeing this sock yarn for a while, and I've been knitting socks, and so I said, why the heck not? And there was a sale going on, so obviously I had to work with the sale in what I was buying for my gift knits and myself. And that is all the yarn that I've gotten this past month. I'm so jealous of everybody who is participating in Rhinebeck right now. I hope the weather is lovely and everybody enjoys their time there. And I will send you all good vibes and lots of yarn successes, energy your way. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm gonna put in somewhere in this video, either in the beginning or at the end here, the video that I had been working on for like 2 weeks was a styling video. I'll put a little short in of what I came up with in terms of styling. I narrated the whole video and then I started editing it, and I learned that my neighbor's leaf blower was going the entire time and you could barely hear what I was saying. So I'm giving up on it. I'm just gonna post it and include it in here, how I like to style my knits in this transitioning time. And I think that is all I have for you. I'm gonna go stare at my fabrics maybe and see what I can get going. And I will talk to you another time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. I hope all your crafts are crafting. I hope you're having a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year, and I will see you next time. Happy crafting, y'all. Bye.